I'm Richard Randall, and welcome to The Real Estate Voice with Barb Schlinker, the owner of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. This is the weekly radio show that informs and educates you on how to buy or sell real estate with Colorado's real estate authority, that is Barb Schlinker. Barb Schlinker is a retired Navy veteran. Barb is an author. Barb's a pilot. And Barb and her team enjoy all that Colorado and the Front Range have to offer. Barb, always great to be talking with you. Now, we air the Real Estate Voice show every Saturday, and if you can't listen to the entire show, you're getting in and out of the car, it's always available by just going to barbhasthebuyers.com. Again, that's barbhasthebuyers.com, or just do a Google search. Barb Schlinker plus podcast, you'll come up with iHeart Radio, Spotify, all of the rest. And every week, the Real Estate Voice covers great information about the housing market, plus the largest asset that the average person has, that is their home. Barb, what are we going to be talking about today?
Well, the first topic, Richard, I'm very excited about, which is a lot of people, especially the bloggers on YouTube, are saying, oh my gosh, the real estate market is crashing. And I'm not seeing it. The numbers are not indicating that, at least not here along the Colorado Front Range. It's happening in other parts of the country for different reasons, but real estate is always very local. So I'm excited about diving into that topic. And then the second one is the top mistakes to avoid when selling a home. It's interesting, Richard, that most people think that when they put their home on the market, 100% is going to sell. And actually it doesn't all the time. About 30 to 40% do not sell. And so you want to make sure you're not one of those, that you don't make that mistake. And then the third topic is kind of fun. It's going to help people get their house ready for sale. The title of that segment is the 27 easy fix-up tips to give you the competitive edge when you're selling your home. And we'll talk a little bit about what to do, what not to do to get your house ready for sale, some inexpensive things to do. And the very last segment is about choosing the right real estate agent when you do go to sell your home. The title of this topic is the 9 red flags to watch out for when picking a real estate agent. And as always, I love covering our hot new listings.
Boy, you've got hot new listings up and down the Front Range. And we're talking with Barb Schlinker, Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. This is the Real Estate Voice show. And Barb, the Fed just raised interest rates 0.25%. And I'm not sure if that has an instant or a direct impact on mortgage interest rates. How do you think a rise in the interest rates is going to affect this housing market?
Well, it does affect mostly the first-time home buyer because they're very, very payment sensitive. People buy homes on payments mostly, not necessarily on the sticker price. So if the same house is going to cost them a lot more per month, they may either think twice or they have to change their criteria and get a little bit less expensive home. But the buyers are still out there looking. And it's interesting that in January and parts of February, we're seeing a pretty good surge in the market again. The fall was sort of rough for a lot of people, but these first 2 months of the year have been actually really good. And there are actually 10 metro areas around the Front Range that are selling really well. I'll just name off a couple of them. Windsor, Colorado, Grand Junction, Colorado. That's kind of a mecca for people that want to downsize and kind of want a little warmer climate, and all the golf and wineries there. It's a pretty great place.
It's a nice area.
Yeah, Fort Collins is still doing very, very well. And Colorado Springs as well, too. I heard something on the radio recently that the rental rates in Colorado Springs have gone up over 16% in the past year. Denver's only gone up 3%. And the reason is rental rates are a little bit less expensive here in El Paso County than they are up in the Denver area. And a lot of people, because they can telecommute, they're moving down here. So that's a good thing. But the other thing that kind of threw a wrench into this market, especially the second half of last year, was that all the investor buyers stopped buying homes substantially. They're still buying a few here and there if they can get a screaming deal. But for a while there, they were getting such low cost money. They were paying like over asking price, not by a little bit. I sold one that was like $69,000 over asking price. They outbid every other buyer by over $35,000, and they let the seller stay there for 2 weeks after.
But that wasn't a conventional buyer.
No, it was an investor buyer
Wow.
that was going to keep the home and rent it out. So that kind of came to a screeching halt last summer. There are some investment purchases taking place, but nothing like what it was before. So that had an impact. It's actually a good thing for buyers because it means that the regular live in your home buyer doesn't have to compete with all these cash buyers. It's really hard for a seller to say no to a cash buyer. The Denver housing market, Denver metro housing market data is really doing well. When I look at these numbers, it indicates to me it's still a seller's market. It's just not a bidding war market. So if a seller's looking backwards at what they could have sold their house for back in April of last year, probably not going to happen, at least not exactly, but still their average days on market are just over a month, whereas El Paso County average days on market are about 50 days. What we are seeing though in El Paso County is the number of available homes for sale has dropped substantially from last fall, almost by 1,000 homes.
Wow.
So that means homes are getting snapped up all the time. And we have seen in January the median as well as the average price tick back up again after having about 8 months of, a reducing amount of environment and homes sitting on the market and all the sticker shock that took place with the raise in interest rates. So getting back to your question, does it impact the market? Yeah, there are fewer buyers. We're seeing builders give discounts. We're seeing all kinds of things go on that we haven't seen for a number of years, but we're still not really in a buyer's market. The prices are still pretty substantial. So right now you're listening to The Real Estate Voice. I'm Barb Schlinker with Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty, and we're talking about whether or not the whole Front Range area is going to have a housing crash. And in the next topic, we're going to be talking about the top mistakes to avoid when selling your home. So if you are thinking of making a move, we can help you in any market. This market, I don't believe, is crashing. Now, the national numbers are indicating it's going to be relatively flat. At least that's what all the big predictors say. But our inventory is actually down. There's just slightly less demand. So my website is barbhasthebuyers.com. I've had that website up since 2014. I have well over 27,000 buyers in waiting that have given us their contact information that are looking for homes every single day. And typically I can come up with about 100 buyers that would be a high match for your home. So if you are thinking of making a move in the next 2 to 6 months and you'd like to get a free in-home consultation on what to do, what not to do to get your house ready for sale, what we think your home will sell for and how much to put in your pocket when it sells, go to barbhasthebuyers.com, click on Find My Buyer, or if you're planning to move later and you just want to talk with us, I met with a gentleman yesterday that's a ways out. It was really fun to meet with him. We don't mind doing that either. Sometimes we can plan it out where we're getting outside pictures in the summer. So when you do go on the market in any season, we have pictures of the beautiful green grass. But if you are thinking of selling, you'd like to download one of our free reports, go to barbhasthebuyers.com. We have some great reports. One of them is called the 15 Tips to Sell Your Home Fast and for Top Dollar. And you could also call us at 719-301-3900. Richard?
You're listening to the Real Estate Voice Show with Barb Schlinker. And Barb, we're discussing the Colorado housing market predictions for 2023. So what's trending in the area right now?
Well, locally what we're seeing is that in El Paso County, the inventory is down. The numbers I calculated by about 40%. The Denver Metro, the inventory, that's the number of available homes, is down by 20%. Yet the demand for homes is a little bit less, but I think the low inventory is outpacing the demand. In other words, there's still plenty of demand out there for homes. And when you look at some of these bloggers that talk about what the housing market's going to do, like I read an article on Forbes, and they basically said that there's still a low housing inventory challenge. And the reason is that since 2008, everybody kind of, stepped back and said, wait, we're not going to build 2 million homes a year like we used to. And so at the same time, the population grew. So we've got the Gen Xers, we've got the millennials that are a much bigger generation than the baby boomer, and they have housing needs now. They're coming of age. So the other factor to the low inventory is there's a lot of people sitting with really, really low interest rates, and they don't want to give it up, which I don't blame them.
Exactly, right?
Yeah, I've talked to people who had 2.5%, 2.75%, 3% interest rates, like free money. So I get why they're not ready to sell right now. So the answer is, yeah, the market's cooling a little bit, but we're not going to have a big 20 or 30% correction like we saw in 2008. And if you're buying a home, right now the disconnect is the seller wants last year's prices and the buyers want a lowball, right?
Yes.
We just processed an offer last weekend where I'm like, what are they thinking? We had 25 people at the open house. This is a $625,000 home. Multiple people talking about offers, and they came in low with their offer. So, okay, we just countered them back and they said, okay, we'll take it. So it's an interesting fight that's going on right now.
But that's why somebody needs you on their side, because I believe in that. If you're competing against 24 other people, you need to know that you can trust the person like you, Barb Schlinker, Your Home Sold, Guaranteed Realty.
Well, thank you. I mean, but the key is if you're buying, you need to get educated about what is the competition. A lot of agents just kind of fly blind and send an offer and hope it works out, and it might be a low offer, and they don't sit down with their buyer and go, what is that number at which you're okay? If it goes above that, you don't want the house. What is that number? You need to make your best offer if you have competition. And if you're selling a home, you definitely want to hire an agent that knows the area, comes highly recommended, helps you price competitively. It's actually the number one thing that home sellers want out of an agent, and we can help you in any market. Just go to my website, barbhasthebuyers.com. We have over 27,000 buyers in waiting. Typically, I can match at least 100 buyers to your home, plus we have all kinds of marketing to create demand to not just our buyers, but all the buyers in the buyer population to get you the most amount of money. So if you are thinking of moving, in the next 2 to 6 months, give us a call at 719-301-3900 or go to barbhasthebuyers.com, click on the button that says Find My Buyer. And if you're moving later, that's okay. Go up on the website. There's a green button that says Free Reports, and you can download any one of our free reports at no cost, or just call us at 719-301-3900. Richard.
You're listening to The Real Estate Voice with Barb Schlinker of Your Home Sold, Guaranteed Realty. And you can always get in touch with Barb by giving her a call at 719-301-3900 or visiting barbhasthebuyers.com. Again, that's barbhasthebuyers.com. We'll take a short break. When we come back, we're going to be talking about the top mistakes to avoid when you're selling a home, and the only person you need to listen to is Barb Schlinker. We'll do that when we come back.